So let's have a conversation real quick about this card right here. That's right, this is the Lord of Heavenly Prison and how it's absolutely changed the Eldlich deck in just entirety. I've found that running this deck with the different conversations going on with it being, is it a side deck going first card? Is it does the protection make it a side deck card? I've personally found in testing this deck that this card is a main deck and I hardly ever side it out. And if I do side, I'll side one out. Having something that also protects your traps and set spells, but at the same time enables you to summon a 3,000 defense and 3,000 attack body to the field, and then on top of it, set any spell or trap that you want. It's absolutely broken, this deck. My wins with this deck are absolutely insane. I play this at my locals. I play this in real life against Shane. I play this on DB, and I found great success with this deck, and I'm excited to take this to my next big tournament. So, without further ado, this is the Lord of Heavenly Prison, Eldlich Trap Hero deck. Hope you enjoy.
House of Cards.
Okay, so we're going to get into the deck profile now. So the first thing is, of course, the Eldlich engine, which is you're going to play 2 Eldlich the Golden Lord. This is probably one of your better monsters, minus Heavenly Prison, which I find is actually a better card than Eldlich. But, it's an Eldlich deck, so you got to play him. And you're going to play 3 of the card that summons him, which is the Scarlet. So Scarlet, obviously crucial in this deck to be able to summon your Lord from grave or from your deck. And then you can recycle that to then set a Conquistador or a yugioh after, if you don't activate it that turn. 3 Conquistador, this is your pop, does not target. So this is great in this deck. And then we have the 2 yugioh, which again, instead of the pop, the effect is you get to banish a card from the grave, which with Enforcer running around is actually really good in this format. So 2 yugioh, 3 Conquistador, 3 Scarlet. I don't play any Cursed Eldland in this deck. Haven't found that I needed it or ever wanted it. You have different win conditions. You don't necessarily have to win on Eldlich itself. Eldlich is just another part of the deck that gives you a little push. And basically, with the way that I play this deck, I'm going to be digging through a lot of cards. So I should ideally see my Eldlich cards. The new card from Burst of Destiny is Lord of the Heavenly Prison, which I absolutely abuse this card. And so its effect is you reveal it and declare its effect. From that point, your spells and traps cannot be destroyed. And that is great, but that is not even really the main play of this card. So if you think he's a going second card or a going first card and not a going second, I play this deck a lot on DB and I never side him out. I think that not only is he a 3,000 attack, 3,000 defense card, because if you go into battle phase and they're attacking you, right? You could be in battle phase, you can activate a Scarlet, you can activate a Conquistador or yugioh, whatever, just to get the Eldlich engine rolling. And then on res, summon him in defense. And now they have a 3,000 defense card that they have to get over. And then on top of it, a lot of times with his next effect is you get to set. So the effect of the Lord of Heavenly Prison is declared in the hand. When it's summoned, you then get to set. So it's not like if you summon it, they can impermit. You're still going to get your set. So having the effect activate in hand is actually really hard for your opponent to get over. Basically, they need to gamma if they don't have any cards in hand when you activate it first turn or something like that to be able to deal with this card. Because Lord of Heavenly Prison, honestly, gets me to my engine that I need to see or gets me to a card that I need to see. For example, if I'm playing a trap back row deck, I can then set a Heavy Storm Duster off of him. I don't have to set a Fusion Destiny. I don't have to set an Eldlich card, but Lord of Heavenly Prison at 3, I never sided out. He is crucial to getting me to the cards that I need to see to beat my opponent. And he comes up so clutch and is really hard for opponents to get over. I mean, this definitely is a main deck card, and it's at 3, and I thoroughly enjoy this card. So I'm going to play Pot of Prosperity, and that's because I play the hero in this deck. And again, the heroes are really good in this deck and to apply pressure to your opponent. So I don't want to play 3 Enforcer because you'll see that in my extra deck. So I play Pot of Prosperity to dig for the card that I actually need. Pot of Extravagance is great, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, the draw 2, sometimes I just want to see a card. And so if I could banish 6, dig 6 deep, and be able to find the actual card I need. So if I have Eldlich Engine in my hand, I don't need an Eldlich card. If I need a Solemn, I can try to dig for it. If I need a Heavenly Prison, I can try to dig for him. If I need a Fusion Destiny, I can dig for it. And on top of that, Pot of Prosperity is a great bait for an Ash to get it out of deck because you don't want them to Ash your Scarlet and you don't want them to Ash your Fusion Destiny. So you can start off with the Pot of Prosperity, bait and Ash with this card, and then go into a Fusion Destiny, and then go into a Scarlet from there. So the last spells that we play, I play 3 Fusion Destiny because I want to see this card. And I was playing a PK player the other day, and I actually had Fusion Destiny resolved, and I drew off of my Celestial and my Dasher, which you'll see. I drew 2 off of those because we're a back row deck, so not having cards in hand comes up all the time, where you're able to then next turn draw 2 more cards on top of everything else. And I drew 2 Fusion Destiny, my other 2 bricks, right? So I set them, and he played so conservatively, and I actually won the game because he played conservatively because I play a back row deck. So even though Fusion Destinies were my set, he was worried about a Solemn, he was worried about whatever those traps could have been. So he went into a Phoenix play to go into a Unicorn play, and he burned his resources and discarded 2 cards just to pop a Fusion Destiny and spin back my other Fusion Destiny. So having the other 2, it's not the end of the world. And especially if you hard draw Eldlich and you resolve 1 Fusion Destiny, now you can just send the other Fusion Destiny out of hand to summon Eldlich. So playing 3, I think is perfect. Having brick to a point where I wished it was something else. And then for all the traps that I play more power traps. So I don't play the Compulse. I don't play anything that I feel like isn't powerful, right? So I want to see power traps. So I play 3 Judgment. And then I play 3 Strike on top of that because these cards just shut your opponent down, because that's ideally what you want to do. I play 1 Imperial Order, and that is my Solemn card right there. So I can look for an Imperial Order, I can look for a Solemn Strike or a Solemn Judgment. These are just going to get you to your next turn to where you're able to put some bodies on the board and to be able to get some plays going. And then for Dogmatica, I play 1 Ecclesia because Ecclesia is just nice to see. I do play Ash Dragon in the extra deck. And even if you hard draw Ecclesia, you can activate Fusion Destiny and still normal summon Ecclesia after resolving Fusion Destiny to search for your punishment, which I play 3 of. So 3 punishment, I think, is perfect. I've never, even when I draw 2, the other one either resolves the following turn or it becomes a bluff where they want to pop, and then I'm still able to resolve a punishment. So punishment is really great. I play 3 Ice Dragon Prison. Ice Dragon's Prison is great this format. People think it's not. I love playing Ice Dragon's Prison. Most of the time I can banish your Enforcer. If you're playing a deck where I'm able to just banish some stuff for stuff, I was playing Sword Soul. And if you didn't know, Baron is a warrior. I was able to banish their Baron and another card, like their Mo Yi. So Ice Dragon's Prison is great. I haven't seen a lot of Drytron lately. That's really the only reason why people weren't playing this card, was because of Drytron. And then I play 3 Torrential Tribute. Obviously, this is a great card. You want to see it. And then to round out the 40 card list, I play 1 Skill Drain and 1 Trap Trick. I will say Skill Drain is a nice shutdown for your opponent, but obviously conflicts with Fusion Destiny. So in order to play this deck, you do have to keep in mind that there are some different things that you need to recognize. For example, Scarlet has the effect which says that you can only special summon zombies, right? So you can't do a Scarlet and then go into a Fusion Destiny. Ecclesia and Punishment lock you out of the extra deck the next turn. So you need to keep all those things in mind when playing this deck. It does take some brain and some thought just to make sure that your plays are accurately being played, because there are some restrictions on playing this deck where you're going to lock yourself out of a few things. So for our links, we're going to go with 1 Link Spider and 1 World Chalice Imdunk. The reason why I have Imdunk in here is because if I'm playing against the Winds and they lock me into wind, the statue barrier, then I want to be able to link off one of my traps and go into and get them in the grave to be able to recycle and get more traps, right? So invoked is the reason why I play that. I do play the Lina, Celine, and Access Code package, and I'll be honest with you, out of 20-30 duels I played with this deck, I probably summoned this once. So it's usually I usually send those as the first to go off of the Prosperity. I do play BLS. I was thinking about switching BLS for Anaconda because you can easily go into Anaconda with this deck because you're getting monsters on the board. However, BLS came up when I was playing against Striker, and I found that this card is just too powerful, and I don't need Anaconda. Like, having Fusion Destiny and Resolving Enforcer is not a win con of this deck, so I felt like BLS was the better play over Anaconda. And then for the XYZs, I play a Pallades, the Gustav Max, and then the Levy. Gustav Max I actually summon a lot. Pallades is usually gone off Prosperity, and occasionally I've sent out Levy. It's also a good punishment target because it's 4,000 attack, but being able to resolve Lord of Heavenly Prison and then Eldlich, and you get them out and you're able to attack, right? So there's 5,500 attack done, and then you can overlay, detach Eldlich, get him in the grave, and then burn your opponent for another 2,000. You put him on 500 life points if you haven't already knocked that down. Or if you've summoned Eldlich, special summoning a zombie, he's at 3,500 attack. You can actually OTK by having Lord of Heavenly Prison, Eldlich at 3,500, there's 6,500. Overlay the two for Gustav Max, and then burn for another 2. And that's how you can literally OTK in one turn. And then I have Zeus here. Obviously, it's just a great card to have. For my 1 fusion, I play the 1 Enforcer. It applies a lot of pressure, and I really like it in the deck. It keeps your opponent thinking that they don't have 10 turns to try to beat you. Like, I'm trying to beat you, honestly, in 5 turns or less. And that's the idea behind this deck. And you can OTK them with this deck, even though it's a trap deck. Your job is to set 5, pass, or have some kind of, plays like that. Shut your opponent's turn down, and then on your turn, have Heavenly Prison for 3,000, Eldlich at 2,500, Enforcer at 2,500, overlays, and just be able to OTK if you can. So, for the punishment targets, I play 4 cards for punishment. I do not side Nadir's Servant, and I'll explain why. So I basically play 2 Intis, the 1 Ash Dragon, and then I play the 1 Baron Blossom. This is all that I feel like I needed because punishment is the only way I'm sending cards to the extra deck. But at the same time, I want to have the accessibility of different plays. So if you draw an extra Fusion Destiny, or if you draw one of the bricks and you can't resolve Fusion Destiny, you can Bear Blossom, shuffle it back in the deck and draw a new card. Intis is obviously your POP, and then Ash Dragon lets you search your Ecclesia or special summon it to search your punishment. So for the side deck that I found that I've been running, and this is obviously I've been playing a lot on DB. So for the side deck, I play 3 Heavy Storm Dusters. These come up obviously if you're playing something that's back row. I play 2 anti-spells, and you all know the reason why for that. I love having Dimensional Barrier in the deck. I think not only is Dimensional Barrier a trap trick target, but with everything, Link's kind of, the whole Link and everything like that is kind of going away. So you're playing a trap deck. Dimensional Barrier between Phantom Knights, between Sword Soul, and all these different things comes up a lot, where I'm able to easily access Dimensional Barrier, whether it's on Lord of Heavenly Prison, Trap Trick, or just hard drawing it. And then I'm basically shutting my opponent down for that turn and still having all my cards, my traps, and different things. And then the thing that I found that this deck struggles with is going second. So I don't play Inspector Border and I don't play Nadir's Servant because you are already playing this heavy trap deck. You can control the game going first. You're going first, it's no problem. You're already solid. So I was thinking I need more going second cards to compete when I know I'm going second. And for that reason, I play 3 Lava Golem. I play 2 Lightning Storms. And then I play 2 Evenly Matched. And so this is my going second package. Every time I know I'm going second, the 2 Lightning Storms and Evenlies and Golems pretty much always go in. And then I'll side out my 3 Judgment. I'll side out like maybe 1 TT, 1 Dogmatic of Punishment, 1 Ice Dragon's Prison. and I'm able to, and then you got the Imperial Order and the skill drain. So I'll slide all those cards out, and then I'll, boom, put in all my going second cards. So the reason why I don't play Nadir Servant is because I feel like Nadir Servant conflicts way too much with Fusion Destiny. You want to resolve the Nadir Servant, but then the point of Nadir Servant is you're going to activate Fusion Destiny. Now you're locked into only summoning heroes. You activate Nadir Servant, you send a card, and then you search Ecclesia, but then it does nothing for you at that point. Now you just have an Ecclesia in your hand because, I mean, you could normal summon it if you haven't already, but I felt that Nadir Servant conflicts way too hard with the Fusion Destiny, the Lord of Heavenly Prison, different stuff like that. So instead, I put more going second cards in, and now I'm basically just going to show you what this deck kind of looks like. I'm going to shuffle it up, and we'll do a quick test hand just so you can see kind of how a full combo will look on this deck. So I'm going to do a quick test hand for you and kind of show you like what the deck looks like and what your different styles and interruptions that you're going to have with this are. Like I said, it's been very good to me, especially on DB and different things like that. So let's just do that. We're going to do a quick double cut here, put that there, and then we'll just cut one more time in the middle. And we're going to go ahead and draw our hand to see what we can open up here. So we open up a TT, which is going to be great. A Punishment, which is going to send. A Fusion Destiny to bring out our Enforcer. Lord of Heavenly Prison. And an Ice Dragon's Prison. So you can tell how strong this hand is. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and reveal this card, the Heavenly Prison, and declare its effect. So we're going to put it right here. So that's revealed. Then what we're going to do is go ahead and activate our Fusion Destiny. And then that will go ahead and dump our bricks out of our deck. So we're going to send the Celestial and the Dasher. Now typically what I try, if I don't open up Fusion Destiny, I will use Heavenly Prison next turn when I use its effect to set the Fusion Destiny from the deck, which enables me to get there. But since we already opened it, we have to look and see what we're missing. And what we're missing is we're actually missing our Eldlich engine. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and set 3, and we're going to pass turn. Our opponent's going to make some moves. So let's say we've used our Enforcer effect, and we've declared the effect to pop, and we've declared the effect to summon back on standby. We're going to try to prevent punishment if possible, but if you have to do it, then please, by all means, go for it. It's not the end of the world. But for testing purposes, I'm going to show you why I would wait on the punishment. So let's say we use Ice Dragon's Prison. They're playing Sword Soul. We want to banish 2 worms or 2 warriors up out of the deck. So we do that. On resolution of Ice Dragon's Prison, we're going to declare the effect of Heavenly Prison. That's going to go ahead and summon himself, and that's a 3,000 defense body, as well as be able to set us a card. I think that the optimal play is going to be to set in Scarlet for this one, so we can get to our Eldlich engine. Now, it's not like Trap Trick. You can't use the Scarlet this turn, but we have enough to stop our opponent where we should be able to go in the next turn and really do some work. You could have already used the TT before the IDP because obviously you want to protect your Heavenly Prison. So let's say we use TT and then we use the effect of Heavenly Prison and then we use Ice Dragon's Prison. So we've really put our opponent on limited amount of resources on their field. So next turn comes by, it's draw phase. So we're going to go ahead and cut the deck. We will draw for a turn. We draw another TT, which is great. On standby phase, our Enforcer is going to come back. Now, what we could do in this situation is in main phase, we can go ahead and set our TT, activate effect of Celestial, banish Celestial and Dasher, draw 2 more cards. We draw another IDP and a Strike. You can see why this deck is so hard to deal with. So we can actually have both of these set, and I'm just going to reveal them so you can see next turn what we're looking at. Let's go ahead and activate our Scarlet. That is going to go ahead and bring out our Golden Lord. And now, just at this position alone, we have a 3,000 attack monster, a 2,500 attack monster for 55, and game with Enforcer. Now, let's say you didn't resolve punishment last turn, so you still have this card set, and you had to use the Enforcer to get over a body that they may have set. Well, now you have a 3,000 attack, 2,500 attack, and you can overlay these two, and you can put Gustav Max on. Activate Gustav Max. We're going to send the Golden Lord. That's going to burn for 2,000. So now we've hit for 7,500, leaving our opponent on 500 attack going into their turn with a Lord that's be able to come back next turn. We have a Phoenix Enforcer. You could even send one of your cards to bring it back. And you have the Scarlet for follow-up. The Scarlet effect can then go ahead and set you a Conquistador on the following turn because we used it for this turn, of course. But you can see how powerful this deck can be. That was a really good test hand, I'm not going to lie to you. So let's just go ahead and set up one more test hand so I can kind of show you how consistent this deck it really is. All right, one more test hand, show you literally the sheer power of this. Another reason why this deck is overperforming for me is because floodgates are huge in the meta right now, and floodgates literally don't matter for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and open, and that's your hand. Now, it's not the ideal hand, but we're gonna play it anyway. So we're gonna go ahead and set or activate Heavenly Prison, reveal, and that's gonna protect our traps. We set 2 IDPs, we set a strike, and we have Lord in hand, which is fine for right now. We want to get our draw effect off. So we're going to try, next turn when he goes, he sets his board, we're going to draw a spell or a trap. So then we can send that, get Eldlich to the grave, and be able to resolve some draw effects here. So let's say our opponent's turn went, and we activated IDP. We're going to do the same thing, summon the Heavenly Prison. Heavenly Prison's going to activate. Keep in mind, it activates in hand. It's all one effect. So when it activates in hand, the summon and set are all one effect. We will go ahead and set our Fusion Destiny. And then we could have strike to our opponent. So let's say we did activate strike. IDP is once per turn. So obviously we didn't activate that again. But let's say we went ahead and used our strike. Now turn has passed to us on draw. That's just, here's the beauty of this, right? So we have Eldlich, which can send the Fusion Destiny, which is a brick in our hand anyway, to send a card on our opponent's field. So really good, strong play. This is going to resolve very nicely here. Keep in mind, though, that you're going to want to use your Eldlich effect first because let's just make sure here. So you can send this card. But if you use your Fusion Destiny first, you're going to be locked into having to special summon heroes, which then you can't special summon your Eldlich from hand. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to resolve Eldlich. We're going to send a card on the field gone, and then we're going to go ahead and summon Eldlich at 3,500 attack and cannot be destroyed by card effects. Now, at this point, we can go ahead and activate our Fusion Destiny. Fusion Destiny is then going to go ahead and send our bricks, which are Celestial and Dasher. That's going to bring out our Enforcer. And then from here, again, we have 3,000 attack, 3,500 attack, and 2,500 attack. So this is game if your opponent, you still have an IDP to kind of clear some of the board too. So you're probably going to hit for game here. And then if not, next turn you have plenty of follow-up. You're going to get a draw 2 off Celestial and Dasher. They have to out your board. So you can see why this deck is so good, and I'm loving playing this so much. So if you guys have any questions, any comments, please let me know. If you think my deck is trash, let me know. I think it's amazing. It's been performing very well, and I think that this is going to be a new meta build for Eldlich. So this has been Tyler with House of Cards TCG. Make sure to like and subscribe and appreciate all you guys watching. Signing out.